Hey friends, so today we're going to start two-step word problems. I hope you guys had fun dancing to the two-step with me and my cowgirl hat on today. It was super great. But I hope you guys are having a good day. Let's keep on moving. So we learned today that we can solve word problems by writing equations. That was a review from last week. And we can use a shape to stand for the unknown value. For example, there are 12 boys and 13 girls in one class. How many students are in the class in all? So what we can do is we can go ahead and do 12, sorry about that, 12 plus 13 equals, and we can use a shape like a square. And so you can also round numbers to check that your answer is reasonable. Okay, and remember rounding from back at week 1. In the problem above, the addends are 12 and 13, so we're going to round both addends to 10. So 12 plus 12 has that 2, so we're going to round it down to 10. 13 has that 3, so we're also going to round it down to 10. And we know that 10 and 10 is 20, so since 20 is close to 25, the answer is reasonable. Sometimes a word problem has 2 steps, and we're going to talk more about that tonight and practice that some more tonight. And in each step may use a different operation. So sometimes we might add, and then we might subtract, and sometimes we might have to multiply or then divide. So we just have to listen carefully to what the problem's truly asking us. Let's keep going. So here are the operations that we've been practicing last week, okay? If we're going to combine parts, we can either add or multiply. The key word is equal parts for multiplying, okay? And then if we're separating a part from a whole, we're either subtracting or dividing. The key word for dividing also is equal parts also. Let's practice this problem. On a nature walk, Tim drew pictures in his notebook of things he saw. He drew 2 leaves on each of 6 pages. He also drew 8 insects. How many leaves and insects did Tim draw in his notebook in all? So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to make sure I read through the story. Remember, I talked about reading through the story 3 times. So I read it through. I go back and I circle my important numbers. And I also underline my keywords like in all. So how many leaves and insects? So we're going to be doing leaves and insects did Tim draw in his notebook in all. So we first need to, step 1, determine the operations. What are we going to do? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. And we need to find the total number of leaves and insects that Tim drew. You could add the number of leaves and the number of insects. But to find the number of leaves, you must first multiply. So we're going to write an equation to find the number of leaves. We're going to use a triangle to represent that number of leaves. So 2 times 6 equals triangle. We don't know. And we talked about how we can put a box there, and we can put the letter X there, and we just will have to solve for that. And then step 3, we're going to actually solve the equation for triangle. 2 times 6 equals triangle. I know 2 times 6 is 12, so Tim drew 12 leaves. So then I'm going to write an equation to find the total number of, remember, going back to the problem that's not just asking how many leaves he drew, but how many leaves and insects he drew. So I'm going to write an equation to find the total number of leaves and insects. And this time I'm going to use a box to represent the total number of leaves and insects. So I have 12 plus 8, which equals something. I'm going to solve for my equation. 12 plus 8 equals the box, and 12 plus 8 I know is 20. So Tim drew a total of 20 leaves and insects. And then don't forget how we practiced today. We can check our answer to make sure it's reasonable and that it makes sense, okay? So Tim drew 12 leaves and 8 insects. 12 I know is close to 10 because that 2 makes it round down to 10. 8 is also close to 10 because that 8 makes it round up to 10. So I know 10 plus 10 is 20, and so the answer is reasonable. Tim drew 20 leaves and insects in his notebook in all. And believe it or not, that is the actual answer. When we rounded 10 and 10, which equals 20. And sometimes that will work, or sometimes usually it's just close to the answer, okay? So what I want you to do tonight is practice the 5 story problems I have for you. And I'd also love for you to check it to make sure that your answer is reasonable also by rounding. Okay, so we're going to practice both of those things tonight. You can do it on some scratch paper and finish it up in Schoology. Thanks for watching.